All right, y'all, let's talk about the negotiable instruments. Now, before we get started, excuse my congestion, my allergies is kicking my ass. But let me be real. I got to keep it $1.50 with y'all. I'm not here to sell false hope. I have not been successful in executing this process, not because I've done anything wrong, but because of the blatant ignorance or the flat out refusal by the parties involved. Either way, accountability is coming. I have exhausted every possible avenue to have the negotiable instruments I lawfully created enforced. What really gets me is, through my research, I found negotiable instrument used directly on the SEC website. I studied it, broke it down, and used it as a reference to craft my own vehicle purchase. Now, originally, I sent the instrument to the wrong party. But after filing a formal complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Federal Reserve redirected me back to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and offered no further assistance. And the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, in turn, forwarded the complaint to the company that was involved, and that is where the runaround began. The original company then told me to contact Penske because they were only the indenture trustee. And doing further research, I found out that the indenture trustee is not responsible for enforcing negotiable instruments, and Penske is the owner of Key of Bedford. Shady ownership connections, doing business in the background. Real sneaky shit, if you ask me. Still, I followed protocol, and I've submitted the negotiable instruments to Penske along with supporting documentation. And let me tell you, the back and forth was wild. That alone led me to file federal complaints with the Department of Justice, Health and Human Services, and the Officer of the Comptroller of Currency. Now, in my most recent packages to the DOJ and the HSS, I didn't include the formal complaint document because I forgot to print it. And when I was packaging my notices up to go out, I didn't have a printer present to print them. But I could not afford to put off actually sending the notice because within this notice was the notice of claim being sent. So as of now, they only have the full evidentiary record and the cover letter for the complaint, but I'll be sending the actual complaint as soon as I can. Now, let's get into this actual complaint document. Notice of systemic dishonor, obstruction of remedy, and request for oversight investigation regarding the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Federal Trade Commission, and Penske Automotive Group. I, Heaven-Marshay Hope, am submitting this formal notice to your office to request immediate oversight and investigations into a pattern of continued administrative dishonor, commercial obstruction, and failure to enforce lawful remedying involving the following parties: Penske Automotive Group, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Federal Trade Commission, and the Federal Reserve Board in connection to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau handling. This correspondence is submitted in good faith and supported by the documented evidentiary record. Since December 2024, I have been actively seeking lawful remedy for commercial injury and administrative abuse resulting from systemic failure of the above entities to recognize or process a valid negotiable instrument issued in accordance with the UCC, Federal Reserve Board guidelines, and the UNCITRAL conventional standards. Despite having submitted lawful documents, including but not limited to a letter of credit and an international promissory note, a lawfully executed affidavit of truth, a full evidentiary timeline of notices, complaints, responses, and defaults, the formal complaints to both the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Federal Trade Commission under relevant federal laws, no party has issued a lawful rebuttal, taken corrective action, or acknowledged the enforceability of the lawful instrument I provided. Instead, I have experienced a continued suppression, commercial dishonor, and a denial of access to remedy in clear violation of the Uniform Commercial Code UCC 3-104, UCC 3-501, UCC 1-308, the UNCITRAL Convention on International Bills of Exchange and Promissory Notes, Title 12, Banks and Banking, Title 15, Commerce and Trade, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and the Federal Trade Commission, in particular, have acted in direct contradiction to their mandates of protecting consumers and ensuring fair financial practices. Their correspondence reveals a clear pattern of deflection, non-enforcement, and systemic shielding of bad faith actors, resulting in continued harm and a failure to uphold the protection secured parties. The protection secured party creditors are lawfully entitled to against fraudulent creditors. The actions and inactions of these agencies and private entities constitutes gross breach of fiduciary duty, fraudulent concealment, and a collision against commercial remedy. Given the sincere severity of the harm and of the obstruction of lawful process, I escalate this matter to the OCC with demand for oversight. Relief sought. A formal investigation of the failure of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Federal Trade Commission to enforce financial regulations, review of Penske Automotive Group's commercial practices and refusal to accept lawful payment instruments, immediate administrative notice to all involved parties affirming their obligation to respond to a lawful commercial instrument and cease obstruction, corrective action and public remedy acknowledging the injury sustained. Enclosed is the full evidentiary record documented systemic dishonor. Unfortunately, the only document retained from the initial submission to the indenture trustee, the Bank of New York Mellon Trust Company, N.A., is the affidavit of truth. All other documents were subsequently updated and submitted directly to Penske Automotive Group, Inc., following the redirection from the indenture trustee through the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, who stated Penske was the appropriate corporation to receive and process the negotiable instrument. You are hereby granted 10 calendar days from the receipt of this notice to provide a lawful point-by-point rebuttal to the attached record. Failure to do so will constitute your final administrative dishonor, tactic, and agreement to all unrebutted claims and formal waiver of any defense, remedy, or response. This notice, along with the enclosed record, shall be sworn and notarized for lawful standing and evidentiary enforcement. Let it be known, silence and deflection are no longer acceptable. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Martin Luther King Jr. I am not behind, I am aligned. I speak the law of truth, not fear. Every false structure around me must fall. My words hold weight, my light reveals life, and I stand protected spiritually, lawfully, and divinely. All right reserved without prejudice, UCC 1-308, respectively, by Heaven-Marshay Holt. Living woman, authorized representative, secured party creditor, affiant. Woo! Your girl be cooking in the kitchen. Hopefully y'all know that. And hopefully it's clear by now that I don't play when it comes to my paperwork. I go above and beyond with my due diligence every single time. Yet my rights continue to be violated. That's bullshit. I'm not someone tossing around empty accusations. I come with facts, receipts, and law, and I'm still being dismissed, undermined, and ignored. These are not misunderstanding. These are right violations. Clear it up front. And whether the harm is coming from ignorance or intent, it is harm all the same. It's criminal and it's being done under the color of law. I can't fully express the exhaustion and dismissal I have endured, but I can say this with my chest. I know these are crimes. I know I'm within my rights, and I will pursue full remedy. They only have the power when we give it to them, and I'm not giving it. Hear me when I say that. I'm standing on business. My rights will be enforced. Whether that makes others uncomfortable or not has literally nothing to do with me. I have to do my due diligence, as does everybody else involved in the case that I'm building. I am not here to spare people because of ignorance. Baby, ignorance does not shield you from the law or the reality that you guys exist in. And it's damn sure not going to shield anybody from the reality that I exist in. I know the law. I study the law. And I'm holding everybody accountable who is actually influencing and causing harm onto me and my family. This is not cool. And I really hope y'all hear me, because y'all have these same rights. But I'm not here to enforce them for everybody. You can do your own damn due diligence just like I do. I'm here to plant the seed and offer a full evidentiary record for everybody to follow for their own benefit. But that's all y'all gonna get out of me. I love y'all. Bye.